The operating tent on Moji smelled of blood, iodine, and exhaustion. Captain David Marcus, M.D., had been standing over the makeshift table for 11 hours. His hands moved with mechanical precision. Suture, clamp, tie, repeat, while the wounded kept coming. They came on stretchers, in jeeps, carried by friends who screamed for help that was already stretched too thin. "Next," David said, his voice hoarse. Corporal Tommy Benson, the medic assisting him, hesitated. "Sir, you haven't eaten. You haven't sat down." "Next," David repeated, not looking up. The next soldier was young 19, maybe 20. His uniform was shredded, his leg a mess of blood and shrapnel. David assessed the damage in seconds. The femoral artery was nicked. If he didn't act fast, the kid would bleed out right there on the table. "What's his name?" David asked, clamping the artery. Tommy checked the tag on the boy's collar. Private Ryan Hill, Ohio, transferred in last week. David worked in silence, his fingers finding their way through torn tissue and muscle. Outside, the bombardment continued, deep thuds that shook the ground and rattled the instruments on the tray. But inside the tent, there was only the sound of breathing and the soft click of surgical tools. "He's crashing," Tommy said, his voice tight. "Pressure's dropping." "More plasma," David ordered. "Now." Tommy grabbed another bag, hanging it with trembling hands. David worked faster, willing the boy's body to hold on. He thought of his own son back in Boston, the same age as this soldier. He thought of the photograph in his pocket, his wife, his boy, their small apartment above the pharmacy. "Come on, Ryan," David murmured, not realizing he'd spoken aloud. "Stay with me. Your mother's waiting." The minutes crawled by. Sweat dripped from David's forehead, stinging his eyes, but he couldn't wipe it away. His hands were inside a boy's leg, holding back death with nothing but skill and stubbornness. Then a pulse, stronger, pressures stabilizing. Tommy said, disbelief in his voice. "He's holding." David finished the last suture and stepped back, his legs nearly buckling. Tommy caught his arm, guiding him to a crate that served as a chair. "You did it, sir," Tommy said. "Another one." David looked at his hands. They were covered in blood, not his own, but the blood of every soldier he'd worked on tonight. 11 hours. A dozen lives saved. 2 lost. He didn't speak. He just sat there, staring at his hands, while Tommy cleaned up around him. An hour later, Private Ryan Hill opened his eyes. The first thing he saw was the canvas roof of the tent, lit by lanterns swinging gently with each distant explosion. The second thing he saw was an older man in a blood-stained uniform sitting beside him. "Where am I?" Ryan whispered. "Moji," the man said. "Surgical tent." "You're going to be okay." Ryan tried to move, felt the pain in his leg, and winced. "My leg? Still there," the man said. "You'll walk again. Might have a limp, but you'll walk." Ryan looked at the man more closely. He was exhausted, dark circles under his eyes, his uniform a mess. But his hands were steady, resting on his knees like tools waiting to be used again. "Who are you?" Ryan asked. The man almost smiled. "Captain Marcus. I'm the surgeon." "Thank you, sir." David shook his head. "Don't thank me. Thank your body for fighting. Thank your lucky stars. Thank whoever you pray to." He paused. "I just held the clamps." Ryan didn't understand. Not then. But years later, when he told the story to his own children, he would always say the same thing. "There was a surgeon on Moji. He saved my leg. He saved my life. And when I thanked him, he said he just held the clamps. But I know the truth. He held everything, my blood, my future, my mother's hope. He held it all in those hands, and he never let go." David stood up, his joints aching. Another stretcher was coming in. Another boy with a mother somewhere, waiting for news. "Next," he said, and his hands went back to work.